Good morning. I see Trish has first blood this morning. Killing it. Good morning, everybody. All right. So, we're going to talk about some AI this morning, but y'all, I got my massage chair yesterday. Here's your pro tip. They're awesome. Totally worth it. But there's a reason that they have timers on them. As good as that foot massage thing. So I got it. I opened it up. I got it set up, and I probably played with it. Just spent a little too much time playing with it because my feet are actually a little sore right now. I let it have too much time on my feet. So I'm gonna have to be careful about that in the future. 30 minutes tops. But anyway, and in all what I was kind of hoping that, and it still may, I was kind of hoping the way to work out is I set the timer. I get my back rub, my foot rub, right, and then fall asleep while I'm getting my massage, and wake up. The timer runs out, the massage stops, and I get to nap in the comfy chair. The chair is comfy, and you can nap in it, but the thing that I need to overcome if I want that to happen is when the timer runs out, it doesn't just stop the massage. It basically tries to dump you out of the chair. So you sit down in the chair and you start the thing, and it goes into the zero gravity mode, and you're kind of in that floaty, reclined, relaxed position. And then when the timer runs out, it doesn't just stop the massage thing. It actually puts you back up into the seated position. I got to figure out how to make it just stop doing the massage and just leave me laying there so I can nap for an hour or so. But overall, big hit, and of course my kids got home and climbed all over it and thought it was fantastic. My second daughter Penelope, Dad, how much did this cost? And I said, yeah, it was a little more than my first car, but that's okay. That's okay, because money's not worth what it used to be. It was more than my first car by about $500. But let's be fair. When I bought my first car, $1 was worth literally 5 times what it is today. Uncle Steve says, which one? Are you talking about my 88 Beretta or the shiny new massage chair? Because the massage chair is an artist hand brand massage chair, which I like just about everything about it. It's a little intense. I might need to add some padding to it, but it's pretty amazing. So that out of the way, Legion asks, did you pass out and lose your bowels on Deep Cycle? No. No. That's okay. Listen, it's a massage chair. It is intended to, at least to a greater or lesser extent, replicate the experience of attending a professional massage. And you go your ass to the bathroom before you lay down on the table, son. Nobody wants a Cleveland steamer with their happy ending. So, let's go to Google to fix AI picture bot after woke criticism. So, what was the woke criticism? I'm going to spend more time making fun of Google having to apologize. Tim Pool covered this as well, and he spent his time on trying to get Google Gemini, which is a text-to-image AI image generator, not unlike Midjourney, which I used to create, to make the thumbnail that I ran this morning. But it won't make white people. It won't show you white people. If you ask it to make white people, I'll spend a little bit of time on this. I'll show you a little bit of what the problem is. So we'll open up Google Gemini, chat with Gemini, That may be because I'm on the BFM corporate account. Okay, so I can't actually get into Gemini right now, so I can't show you. Go check out Tim says ex-friend asked it for Henry Ford, 3 Middle Eastern men and a lady. Yeah. So people have been experimenting with this, and they'll do things like ask, "Hey, Gemini, show me pictures of professional NHL players, National Hockey League players," and it'll be, 3 black guys and an Indian woman, or they'll say, "Show me pictures of a Viking," and like Tim Pool did that one. It did one Viking, one actual like blue-eyed, blonde-haired, dreadlock, armored Scandinavian white Viking, like a legit-looking Viking, and then all the other images were black people, Indians, and like Koreans in Viking clothes. Except the black chick who was just in straight up like the Woman King regalia with a Roman gladius. If you ask it, hey Gemini, show me pictures of a white family, it'll say, I can't do that because I'm not allowed to generate images based around a particular immutable trait or something, something like that, because it's discriminatory and non-inclusive, and that causes harm. But if you type in, show me pictures of a black family, yeah, no problem. Show me pictures of a Japanese family, yeah, no problem. And they'll even be in the, like the Japanese family, the woman's in a kimono and the guy's in a business suit. Like they're painfully, obviously Japanese. Right, the black family is just straight up black. Legion says one pundit actually described it as so woke it's unusable, and that is where we are on that. And here's what you have to understand: when we're talking about artificial intelligence of this sort, these are. I hate that they call it artificial intelligence. I get it. I understand you're trying to abbreviate conceptual complexity into serviceable civilian jargon that a person can easily digest at a glance. But the fact is that these AIs, as they're called, are not artificial intelligence. They are machine learning large language systems. So basically, imagine an old text video game like Zork, where you get a line of text. You walk down the hall. There is a monster. What do you do? The video game can only recognize 5 or 6 commands because those are the ones that are programmed into it. So if you say, I want to run up and pee in the monster's face, that's not in the program, so it'll just sit there and ignore you. Or it will say, item not recognized, try again. And you have to type in, I attack the ogre with the rusty knife. You have to use the commands that are in the program. When you're talking about these things, these large language machine learning models, what they do and how they sort of simulate intelligence is they do the same thing that Zork did. They just have a shitload of responses that they can deal with. And those responses are generated by the machine, but it's still a list of responses that it can deal with, coupled with what's called a machine learning algorithm, which is able to take responses it doesn't recognize, compare them against responses it has seen before, and generate new possible amalgamations of language from those analytic data one, right? But in order to do that, it has to run those against a huge number of theoretical examples and make a near infinite number of mistakes in order to arrive back at the correct position. Now, that model has a great deal of validity for an initial claim toward the development of artificial intelligence based on the actual neurophysiological language models on which humans adopt an understanding of the world around them and create their initial ontological concepts and ontological restraints on the nature of what does and does not exist metaphysically. For example, you cannot teach a child who doesn't know language yet what a cat is by simply describing a cat. This is the classic example that's used, and sometimes it's a dog, sometimes it's a cat. It's usually one or the other. But this is the classic example that's used in the philosophy of language. Whether you're dealing with philologists or linguists, etc., what you're doing is you can't tell the child it's a cat. You know it's a cat because it has 2 ears, 4 legs, a tail, it's furry. It's roughly this size. And then you show them a chihuahua, and it has 2 ears, a tail, 4 legs, and it's roughly this size. Oh, that's obviously a cat. No, that's not a cat. That is a dog. Well, how can you tell the difference? Well, it has 2 ears, 4 legs, a tail, and it's... No, that doesn't work. And the reason that doesn't work is because there is a semi-intangible quality between dogs and cats which are distinct. Now, once you get down to the biological and genetic level, there are some significant differences that can be pointed at that are tangible and real, but that data isn't available to the basic 5 senses, except insofar as that data can be correlated with the intangible and conceptual, what a philosopher would call the catness of the cat, the dogness of the dog, that certain je ne sais quoi that makes a thing, right? Because once you get past okay, it's a cat because it has 2 ears, 4 legs, and a tail, there are such things as cats who have had 4 legs cut off. Now you have a potato with 2 ears and a tail. But once you have learned the difference between a dog and a cat, then you can recognize that furry thing as not a potato. And you get there intellectually, you get there by being told this thing is a cat. Here's the basic description. But when you compare this cat to this not cat, here's a dog. This is a not cat. Here's a pig. This is a not cat. Here's a monkey. This is a not cat. Oh, I can now extrapolate from all of the categories of not cat what is cat. A large language learning model does that inefficiently, but quickly. And I know that was a lot, right? That was a lot for me to hit y'all with first thing in the morning, but I say all of that to point this out. In order for Google Gemini to explicitly refuse to generate pictures of white people, but to, without complaint, generate pictures of black people, Chinese people, Japanese people, Native American people, whatever, for it to only refuse to generate that category, and most especially for it to only refuse to generate white people by offering the excuse that whiteness is an immutable characteristic and it would be insensitive, derogatory, exclusionary, et cetera, whatever woke buzzwords they want to run through it to tell you why they can't make it look like white people. But then, to have no problem at all generating images with other than white characteristics, the only way that's possible is for it to have been intentionally programmed so that the word white specifically is tagged and blocked and prevented with explicit direction from the programmers, prevented from being generated. So, let's take a look at Google's apology and see where they got to. Google and parent company Alphabet Inc.'s headquarters in Mountain View, California, Google is racing to fix its new AI-powered tool. Let me blow that up a little bit so y'all can read it, because I know some of you are watching on your phones. How's that? Can y'all read that? Let me know. Google is racing to fix its new AI-powered tool for creating pictures after claims it was overcorrecting against the risk of being racist. Let's be clear, it was not overcorrecting against the risk of being racist. It was overcorrecting against the risk of acknowledging the existence of white people. Users said the firm's Gemini bot supplied images depicting a variety of genders and ethnicities, even when doing so was historically inaccurate. For example, a prompt seeking images of America's founding fathers turned up women and people of color. Surprise, surprise. The company said its tool was missing the mark. No shit. Gemini's image generation does generate a wide range of people, and that's generally a good thing because people around the world use it. But it's missing the mark here, said Jack Krausick, Senior Director for Gemini Experiences. We're working to improve these kinds of depictions immediately, he added. This article continues. What? Here it goes. It is not the first time AI has stumbled over real-world questions about diversity. For example, Google infamously had to apologize almost a decade ago for its Photos app labeled a photo of a black couple as gorillas. I remember that story. It was fair. Rival AI firm OpenAI was also accused of perpetuating harmful stereotypes after users found its DALL-E image generator responded to queries for chief executives, for example, with results dominated by pictures of white men. Okay, see, now this is a bad criticism. It was accused of perpetuating harmful stereotypes after users found its DALL-E image generator responded to queries for chief executive, for example, with results dominated by pictures of white men. Let's be clear. The chief executive jobs are dominated by white men. That's simply fact, right? When you ask Google Gemini to show you pictures of Vikings, it shows you 3 out of 4 of them are black or Native American or something of the sort. That is factually wrong. It is counterintuitive. It is counterintelligent. It is counter-fucking fact. When you ask it to show you images, a number of images of chief executive officers, and the majority of them are white men, that is factually correct. And it is the case that the majority of CEOs are white men for some very specific reasons, not least of which, by a wide margin, men prefer things and women prefer people. Women do not, by a wide margin, by preference, pursue those positions. But let's be clear, men, by a wide margin, do not pursue those positions either. Men generally. Even white men do not pursue those tippy-top jobs generally. What you're talking about when you talk about the chief executive job is you're talking about a very narrow sliver of a very large pool, and men, generally, not just white men, but men are more heavily represented at the extremes. Right? I saw Michael Knowles debating with a bunch of OnlyFans chicks the other day, and one of the girls was going on and on about how the future of the world and the future of academia is female because women are smarter than men on average. Oh, God. No, honey. When you look at the bell curve, oh my God, let me see if I can find the gender intelligence bell curve. Let me see if I can find the bell curve, a version of the chart real quick so we can talk about how this works. Sex related, more smart men than smart women. Okay, this one is pretty simplistic, but it gets the point across. Okay, so this girl is looking at this chart, at this graph, and she thinks that this means that women, on average, are smarter than men. Oh my God, no, that is not what this image says. So, sweetheart, by saying that, by clearly misinterpreting this data, you are already identifying yourself as belonging on the left side of the bell curve. But what this says is not that the women being heavily represented here in the middle, that doesn't mean that women on average are smarter than men. It means that there are more women who are on average, who are of average intelligence than there are men. Fewer men are intellectually at the mean than are women. More men are geniuses. Wow, Mario, this says IQ and it cuts off at 125, so we're not even on this fucking chart. But more men are high intellect than are women. But there are more men who can't tie their own shoes than there are women. It is not that women are more intelligent on average. It is that women are more average on intelligence. If you meet a woman, there is a high probability that she is only of average intelligence, and there is a much lower probability that there is a much lower probability for that woman than for any man that she will be of high intelligence. But the other thing to remember about this is when you get out to this intelligence, and there are more highly intelligent men, there are highly intelligent women. In both cases, men and women, on the scale of intelligence there, you're talking about the extreme. You're talking about the outlier. You're not talking about the burger flipper, the secretary, the plumber, the electrician, etc. You're talking about the scientist, the mathematician, the spooks, the sociopaths that run the boardrooms and get elected to office, right? Those are the outliers. I may have lost my thread with where I was planning on going with that, so I'm going to pop. Oh yeah, so that's why. And this is a terrible example, because that chief executive, more chief executives are white men than any other representation globally. But it's also true that particular group of white men are statistical outliers from all other white men generally, not just from the whole alphabet soup of diversity and exclusionary nonsense. Google, which is under pressure to prove it is not falling behind in AI developments. Guys, Google is totally falling behind in AI developments. Google is getting fucked in the teeth on the AI development space ratio. They're just getting whopped. The bot creates pictures in response to written queries. It quickly drew critics who accused the company of training the bot to be laughably woke. And as I've just pointed out, the accusation is not without merit. Because of the way that large language models work, it is only possible for this particular kind of error to have been explicitly coded into the model. So, damn, we're already pushing up against 8 o'clock, and I wanted to cover a second article. Nope, you know what? I'm just gonna have to save this one for later. Maybe we'll get to it another time, because unfortunately, I've got to get moving because I have a doctor's appointment this morning. So, Unverified Bear asks, did anyone see that AI Gen Prospector Town video? I have not. Feel free to send a link. I tell you what, Bear, get on X, get on Twitter. Go find the Brushfire Mind and DM it to me. I'll take a look at it, and maybe we can take a look at it tomorrow morning before we do the DGUs. Tomorrow is Friday, right? Yeah, it's Friday tomorrow. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I had fun doing this one this morning. Be safe out there. Tomorrow's Firearms Friday. I hope everybody's got a good hot cup of coffee in the morning. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.